Welcome to Trending Now USA. I am Bella, and today we bring you a deep dive news script centered on one of the most intriguing opening round storylines at the Australian Open, a matchup that places the spotlight firmly on youth, power, ambition, and the unpredictable beauty of Grand Slam tennis. This is the story behind the name Alycia Parks and why she stands across the net as Alex Eala's first assignment on one of the sport's biggest stages. As the Australian Open main draw captures global attention, fans are once again reminded that Grand Slam tournaments are not only about champions and trophies, but about moments where careers intersect, reputations are tested, and futures begin to take shape. For Alex Eala, the young Filipina talent stepping into the Australian Open main draw spotlight, the opening match carries symbolic weight. It is the first hurdle, the first test, and the first chance to announce herself to the broader tennis world. Standing on the other side is Alycia Parks, a name that resonates with raw power, athletic promise, and a rapidly evolving identity on the WTA Tour. Alycia Parks represents a new wave of American tennis, shaped by athleticism, confidence, and an aggressive style that reflects the modern game. Born in Atlanta, Georgia, Parks emerged from a background that blended competitive drive with unconventional pathways. She did not follow the traditional collegiate route for long, instead choosing to turn professional early, trusting in her physical gifts and belief that her game belonged on the biggest courts. That decision, once viewed as a gamble, has steadily transformed into a statement of intent. Standing tall with a commanding presence, Parks is known first and foremost for her serve. It is a weapon that can dictate matches, shorten rallies, and unsettle opponents before points even begin. On faster hard courts, like those in Melbourne, her serve becomes even more potent, capable of generating free points and shifting momentum in seconds. For players facing Parks, especially in early rounds, managing her service games becomes as much a mental challenge as a technical one. But Alycia Parks is more than just power. Over recent seasons, she has worked to add layers to her game, improving movement, refining shot selection, and learning how to absorb pressure when the spotlight intensifies. Her forehand, heavy and penetrating, complements her serve, while her backhand has evolved from a defensive liability into a more stable rally shot. These improvements have allowed her to compete not just with lower-ranked players, but with established names who once viewed her as a raw prospect rather than a genuine threat. The Australian Open represents a unique environment for players like Parks. The conditions reward aggression, but they also punish impatience. Long rallies, physical heat, and the emotional swings of a Grand Slam can expose weaknesses just as easily as they showcase strengths. For Parks, consistency has been the key area under scrutiny. On her best days, she looks unplayable. On others, unforced errors and lapses in focus have opened doors for opponents. This balance between dominance and vulnerability makes her matches compelling and unpredictable. Across the net stands Alex Eala, a player whose journey contrasts sharply yet intriguingly with Parks. Eala's rise has been defined by discipline, international training, and a tactical intelligence that belies her age. Raised in the Philippines and shaped by elite development programs abroad, Eala has long been seen as one of Southeast Asia's brightest tennis hopes. Her junior achievements announced her potential, but the transition to the professional stage has been about patience, adaptation, and growth. For Eala, the Australian Open is not just another tournament. It is a milestone. Entering the main draw brings validation of years of work and sacrifice, while also introducing a new level of expectation. Her game is built around timing, court awareness, and resilience rather than brute force. She thrives on constructing points, extending rallies, and drawing errors from opponents who overpress. Against a player like Alycia Parks, this contrast in styles becomes the central storyline. Eala's left-handed game adds another dimension. Left-handers often present unfamiliar angles, especially to power-based players accustomed to dictating with serve and forehand patterns. Her ability to redirect pace, mix spins, and use the court creatively could test Parks' patience and footwork. While she may not match Parks in raw power, Eala compensates with anticipation and composure, qualities that often shine brightest under Grand Slam pressure. This opening round assignment is therefore more than a simple matchup. It is a collision of philosophies. Power versus precision. Experience versus emergence. The American confidence of a player accustomed to high-velocity tennis meets the calm determination of a young competitor eager to prove she belongs. For neutral fans, it is exactly the kind of contest that defines early-round Grand Slam drama. From Parks' perspective, this match carries its own weight. As a seeded thread in the eyes of many analysts, early-round exits are not an option if she wishes to solidify her standing on tour. Facing an opponent with nothing to lose can be dangerous. Eala enters the court with freedom, aware that expectations lean toward her opponent. Parks must manage not only the scoreline but her own mindset, resisting frustration if points do not end quickly. For Eala, the challenge is equally clear. She must withstand the initial storm, absorb the pace, and avoid being rushed into errors. Holding serve becomes critical, as does returning with depth and purpose. Long games, extended rallies, and physical endurance could tilt momentum in her favor if she remains patient. Every point won against a power player chips away at confidence, and Eala's team understands that psychological battles often decide such encounters. The Australian Open crowd adds another layer. Melbourne audiences are known for their appreciation of underdog stories and dynamic shot-making. A few spectacular rallies or well-timed breaks can quickly shift crowd energy, turning pressure into fuel. Both players will feel it, but how they respond may determine the outcome more than any single shot. Zooming out, this match also reflects broader narratives within women's tennis. The sport is in a phase of transition, where young players are challenging established hierarchies and styles are diversifying. Power is no longer enough on its own, nor is finesse without physical resilience. The players who succeed are those who adapt, evolve, and learn to win in multiple ways. Parks and Eala each represent different answers to that equation. Alycia Parks symbolizes the athletic evolution of the game, where serve speeds rival those of top male players and baseline aggression defines rallies. Alex Eala embodies the strategic evolution, where court sense, adaptability, and mental strength bridge gaps in physicality. Their meeting in the Australian Open main draw is therefore not accidental. It is a snapshot of where the sport is and where it is going. As the match approaches, preparation becomes paramount. Parks' camp will emphasize first serve percentage, controlled aggression, and emotional discipline. Eala's team will focus on return positioning, variation, and stamina. Neither player can afford a slow start, as early breaks in Grand Slam matches often dictate tempo and belief. Beyond the immediate result, this assignment carries implications for both careers. A strong performance from Parks reinforces her trajectory toward becoming a consistent presence in the latter rounds of major tournaments. A breakthrough win for Eala would resonate far beyond Melbourne, inspiring fans back home and signaling that she is ready to compete at the highest level. This is what makes the Australian Open special. Before the champions lift trophies and headlines are written, stories like this unfold quietly on outer courts and main arenas alike. Stories of ambition meeting opportunity, of preparation meeting pressure, and of names becoming narratives. As Trending Now USA continues to track the biggest and most compelling stories in global sports, this opening round clash stands out not just because of rankings or reputations, but because it captures the essence of competition. Alycia Parks, with her power and presence, faces Alex Eala, with her poise and promise. One will advance, the other will learn, but both will leave a mark on a tournament that thrives on moments like these. I am Bella, and this has been your in-depth news script on who Alycia Parks is and why she represents such a fascinating first assignment for Alex Eala at the Australian Open, a meeting that reminds us why tennis, at its core, is a sport of stories as much as statistics.